Have you been selling your products in stores? Good morning. I am Jen, and this is Sugary Tie-Dye Business Chat. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're not new here, welcome back. Today I want to talk about selling your products in stores or getting your products into stores. And as we speak, I am on my way to Lake George, New York, to walk around town and see if I can talk to some store owners and get my products into stores. This is going to be a two-part video. I'm sure that I'm probably not going to be able to film in stores or anything like that. I didn't bring my selfie stick thing. But, so, as we've discussed before with just selling your product, what you want to do is identify your customer and where your customer shops. So for what I've done here is I kind of want to stay in my local area, like around, I would say like an hour travel distance or so from my house, because I live in the North Country, and sometimes it's not so easy to get around, and I have a full-time job, which plays a part in my availability to be able to stock products in stores. So I want to at least start in my general local area. So there is that. I apologize if I'm half in the picture. The sun is coming in. It is nice and sunny, but it is a brisk, cold Saturday. So when I talk about know your customer, the stereotypical customers that I would see would be quote unquote deadheads or hippies, that kind of stuff. A lot of people do like tie-dye. It's, people that like multicolors and things like that. Now, to define where my customers shop, I would say novelty stores, dispensaries or stores similar to that. New York State is legal, maybe not legal to sell recreational marijuana, but it is. They have ways around it in the stores, but New York State has been legal for medical marijuana for a long time, and now that it's legal for recreational use, maybe not necessarily selling, there are a lot more stores that have been popping up with paraphernalia and items that fit that type of category. So I've identified gift stores. There's a glass shop that I want to check out in Lake George. I have heard of people that have sold their items in that store. I am looking to do either like on a consignment or commission type of a basis, but I wouldn't be opposed to wholesale if the price was right for me to be able to make a profit. Wholesale's a little difficult. I would really have to nail down my figures. I've got a rough estimate of what I would, I would need to make around 50% with a wholesale product, and it would really depend on what items I'm making, such as things as spirals. Those are pretty easy to make. Something that's more time consuming, I would definitely not want to sell on a wholesale basis, even a commission basis, because I do keep a lot of my products at the same price for the sizing of them. I think even a commission would be, commission or consignment would be a little bit difficult to achieve I have looked into various consignment type contracts, and a lot of consignment contracts will give 60% to the vendor, 40% to the store. That would get me right around my profit level, so I think I would end up having to raise my prices, and I believe I would pick the price point for the items, so I would be able to pick my price point. I would not want to sell something, say, sell a shirt in a store for $30 and then turn around and sell it at an event that I'm doing for $25. I do not want to compete with the people that I am consigning with. That was another factor to think about when I was researching what types of contracts I would be interested in looking at. And the market area. There are a lot of tourists that head to Lake George, New York, or the surrounding areas in the summer. Right now it's winter. It'll be interesting to see what stores are actually open in that area. It's the beginning of March when I'm filming this, but it is a Saturday, and I Googled gift shops in Lake George, novelty gift shops, smoke shops. I did a full-on Lake George, New York Google with those stores in mind, and I wrote down, I want to say between 25 and 30 stores that could very well possibly want to sell my product in their store, or would have a market where people would want to buy that product. So there is quite a bit available. Whether the stores are open or not will be another thing that I'll find out. I believe there are some that are not open due to the season, but I believe that most of the stores are open, and maybe for a limited time in the winter. I've seen the listings for when they're open is mainly Saturdays, and some of them are open a couple days during the week, but we're in the winter season, and Lake George doesn't have a huge winter market, I don't think. Lake George is, I want to say, about an hour away from the Gore ski area. It's quite a ways away from the Lake Placid ski area and such as that. I don't know, there might be some other ski areas around there, but I'm not overly familiar, as it is a little ways away from my house, and a lot of the traffic that I believe Lake George gets is during the summer because they've got the lake there. The lake doesn't necessarily freeze over all the time because it has quite a strong current, I believe, so you wouldn't necessarily get a ton of people for, say, snowmobiling or ice fishing, or winter recreation on the lake. I don't think that I would see that type of clientele in Lake George this time of year. So whether I can get items in the stores at this point in time or not will be another. I might have to wait until closer to summer when they're beginning to gear up for their tourist season, which is fine. My main goal today is to scope out the area, scope out the stores. I want to go into the stores and check out the vibe of the store, see if the store would be a good fit for my product. That is one of the main things. I brought a few samples. I attached my business card to them. I have a brochure that I made up a couple of years ago, that I'm planning to bring. I don't necessarily need to talk to store owners, but I want to take down information so that I can have a contact for later on into the tourist season. So that is my main goal today, is to walk around and check out the vibes in the stores, talk to the people that work in the stores, get an idea of whether or not they would be willing to contract with a local vendor. I think having the label of this is a local handmade product is fantastic for business. All right, so this is part 2 of going to Lake George and going into gift shops and seeing if I can get my items in stores. Most of them were closed for the season. There was a couple of the stores that I went into, they sell items that are geared towards Lake George, that have Lake George written on them. Gifty type items that are geared towards the actual town. I went up to Bolton Landing because there was a store in Bolton Landing that I wanted to check out. They were closed for the season, and the sign on their door redirected me to a store in Glens Falls, which I did not go to. Went back to Lake George around, I want to say 11:45, maybe around noon. The store that I really wanted to go into, that I've heard will buy items from local vendors, she was open, and I did go in and talk to her. And of course, she expressed that it was the wrong time of year, which I knew it was the wrong time of year. So I did have a good chat with her. She expressed that she generally does not do consignment because people have a tendency to not pick up their things, which I understand. She did say that she was interested in my items. I gave her a sample with my business card, and I gave her my brochure. Overall, because of that interaction, it was not a bad day. What I plan on doing is contacting her probably around the beginning of May, see if she's interested in looking into me supplying her with some infant and toddler stuff. And I have a good feel for what my next step's going to be. I do believe I want to hit up some other towns that are kind of in my local area. As far as the other stores in Lake George, I believe a lot of those are geared towards Lake George-y type of stuff, and there wasn't really a lot that I would say that my items would fit. I am going to keep at it. I don't know if Lake Placid or Saranac Lake are really good options for me. I do know that they do have a lot of a winter presence. I really kind of want to stick to being local around my area. I don't know when I'll make another video talking about getting my stuff into stores, since it's going to be a couple months before I contact the lady in the store in Lake George. You have been tuning in to Business Chat. My name is Jen. This is Sugary Tie-Dye. Thank you for being here. If you all have any suggestions of what else I might try to get my items into local stores, I do live in an area that is very specific on certain things, like I live in the Adirondacks, and a lot of stuff is specific on Adirondack this, Adirondack that. The lakes are pretty specific, like Lake George this, Lake George that. But if you guys have any suggestions or comments, leave them in the comment section below. And please like and subscribe. I will be back with a third installation at some point in time. Thank you for watching.